Hey everyone, and welcome to our first episode of our Pokemon Yellow Relaxed Speedrun. As I mentioned in the intro video, this is going to be a playthrough where we go through Pokemon Yellow, but I'm going to follow through along with a typical speedrun. The current record is an hour and 53 minutes and 2 seconds by a player named Sined. I don't think we're going to get anywhere close to that. I figured this was a good in-between, considering we just played Kanto, but a good way to see how Pokemon Yellow works anyway. I'm playing my original GameCube, original Pokemon Yellow, so we're going to see how everything works out. Let's see my existing game here. Oh, that time is pretty high for just one badge. I don't know what I was doing there. But, alright, let's go to options. The first thing we're going to do is keep our text speed on fast, and we're gonna do set mode actually, because it's actually a waste of time otherwise to get your to have to click through all the prompts. So you want to be hammering A pretty hard through all the dialogue. The one difference is, I'm going to call out some differences here when we don't do typical speedrun things. Normally here you would name your player something crazy, but I want to keep on naming our player after myself. I don't think it's going to matter all that much, but I think it would just be something fun to do. I am using my real GameCube controller. I'm wondering how that's going to affect things. Here with our rival, why not? He's always been this. He always will be Andrew. Okay. So, again, normally you pretty much want to just give him a really short name. So the first thing you're going to want to do is, you typically don't want to get the potion that's in your room in Pallet Town. We're going to, just because, it isn't a speed run, but it is, but it isn't. We kind of want that potion just in case. Alright, and then you immediately want to go into the tall grass. No screwing around here. And here, Professor Oak's going to catch Pikachu. It'd be really easy if we had a turbo controller. I'm using my original GameCube controller that I got with my GameCube, which is starting to get even a little worn at this point, which is ironic, considering I feel like for the first 15 years I had it, it wasn't really that worn, and now it is sort of losing speed. But, oh well. So, one thing I like about Pokemon Yellow here is how the colors really come through. We didn't really get that on our last playthrough. We didn't really get to see all these really interesting palettes, so to say. And this is how I really remember the game looking when I was a kid. So, as everyone knows, or actually maybe not everyone knows, but here, Gary will actually come and steal the Pokemon from you this time. Which I always thought was pretty funny. This game follows along. We're supposed to follow along with the Pokemon anime, but there are some things that are a little bit different, and this is one of them, where they just sort of make it a little bit, go a little off script. So here we get Pikachu. Do we want to give a name to him? Yeah, let's actually name him in honor of... We're not going to use Pikachu at all, but in honor of our last playthrough, because he won't evolve, let's name him Little Mac, in honor of Mac the Pikachu. What you want to do in this first battle against your rival, or against Gary, is you want to spam Thundershock funny enough, if Pikachu dies here, the battle does go faster. However, future battles will be slower because your opponent will there's a good chance he will then get Pokémon, which ends up changing the other battles. You also might notice that now we have a green bar for our health that turns into the orange, etc. I think that the colors were initially programmed into red-blue, or at least if you played them on a Game Boy Color or on a Game Boy Advance, there would be some color to it. I looked this up because our last playthrough was all black and white, and I think that it was just the way that the Game Boy actually interpreted the game or the ROM. So here we go. We end up getting our first victory, so that's going to be really helpful. Here you go. Pikachu says he doesn't want to end up being in the Pokeball. That's why I always loved this game as a kid. This is my favorite way to replay Gen 1, is because I do love that you can just walk around with Pikachu. One thing I'm not loving right now is the GameCube controller is pretty tough to control. This guy is, you do want to get this guy's potion as well, just so it helps out. But so right there, you might have seen the one reason why you end up boxing Pikachu in this game is because he will sometimes get in your way if you are, if you're going places. You're gonna want to run, I think, from every battle here. Sometimes I've seen, because this is so early on, something like even just getting an encounter on that first route will cause people to reset their game, or reset the try. But anyway, like I was saying, the GameCube controller is tough. The D-pad on here isn't great, I was noticing, to control. And the stick is actually a little harder. Next time I might switch to using an actual Game Boy and connect it up. My setup here was pretty interesting, how I got it all joy-rigged. It was really difficult to get the right capture card and all, because I'm recording on a Mac, an M1 chip Mac, and so my audio was screwy, and it was a whole thing. So it really was it was difficult because I guess the M1 chip Mac has a real issue with how you end up, how it records audio with USB devices. So I ended up really screwing up. I tried a bunch of different capture cards and none were working. I finally got an AverMedia one, and that was still having the same problem of the audio wasn't going well. And then I realized that the issue was actually with my computer. It had nothing to do with the capture card. So after all of that, I found a nice little script that I can run on the computer to help us out and actually make the audio go well. Alright, so we're now gonna, after you talk to Oak, you're gonna want to do a quick little detour. You want to go back to where we just got the potion, and you want to buy a few things. Yeah, I can imagine no one has ever done a speedrun on this with a GameCube controller, at least not one that has been remembered. But it's still fun. This brings me back. I remember my aunt got me this Game Boy player to connect to my GameCube, and I used to spend hours in my basement playing old Game Boy games with this. Actually, you normally wouldn't do this on a playthrough, on a speedrun, but why not? Yeah, I used to spend hours playing games. I remember playing Ruby and Sapphire. Well, I mean my version, which I had was Sapphire, on the Game Boy player all the time. Alright, let's see. I'm only one potion. and 12 Pokeballs. Okay. And so now, if you go, funny enough, if you go up past the old man here, you gotta end up talking to him, and he'll show you everything that you need to focus on. But one of the reasons why you know immediately what your rival's Pokemon will turn into, the Eevee, is it's all based on whether you win or lose the battles with him in the beginning. But during a speed run, you're not going to go west to Route 22 here, so you actually don't have that second battle. Here's a fun little potion that you can get. So you don't have that second battle against him, and so you end up having to, you already take a loss for that one because you never have it. So that's how you know that if you lose the second time, he gets Vaporeon. Alright, now here is where you're hoping for exactly this encounter. This is the exact reason we bought all these Pokeballs. Is you want to catch the king of a Pokemon Yellow speedrun, and that is the counterpart to Mama, our Nido Queen from the last playthrough, is you want Nidoran Male. Nidoran Male is the king of a speedthrough. Normally you would just nickname him A, or some character. This time though, because we're going to keep him on our team, and because it's a relaxed speedrun, we're going to name him... So I was thinking, I think Nidokingdom would fit. Nidokingdom is a little much, but so then I was workshopping names like, okay, Nido King, Nidokingdom, what is it? And I thought of one of my favorite games as a kid, Kingdom Hearts, because of Nido King. And I think we're going to name him after another powerhouse in that game. And we're going to have, welcome to the team, Riku, the Nido King. Alright. So now, I could explain why Nidoran Male is the best. There's actually a really good thread on here about why he is the best to have in this game. There's a lot of reasons. I don't have... Well, I guess I do have time to go into it. You do want to fight this bug catcher, though. I just want to make that very clear before we start doing it. You want to fight him because he ends up... you need to get to level 12 before Brock. You want to use a Leer first. Because one Leer actually will save you enough hits here. And you just spam potions if you need it. Which, it's looking like we might. Let's chance it that we don't get a critical hit against us. But anyway, so there are a lot of different options for Nidoran. You could do... Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to use a potion after this. So the biggest reason that he's best is really the early availability. He has a fantastic move pool, which is always really helpful. You can get Thunderbolt, Earthquake, Ice Beam, Rock Slide like we had in our last playthrough for Nido Queen. But you can also get the Horn Drill and Fissure, which we'll talk about why those one-hit KO moves are so important in this game. But we really want to... but so that's why Nido King, that's the argument for him. The argument against him, or against other Pokemon. Some of the other ones you would do is Mankey, maybe Nidoran Female. Nidoran Male is just more powerful than Nidoran Female, which summary of why you want Nidoran male instead. But Mankey is an interesting choice. I think the biggest problem with that, though, is just that it takes a while for Mankey to get trained up and evolve into Primate, whereas Nidoran evolves, you have a fully evolved Pokemon by the time you're in Mount Moon. That's really tough to beat. Oh, and there we go. Pretty healed up there. Okay, so now that we beat up on this guy, you do want to go up and around. If you caught Nidoran at level 6, you'd want to skip this guy, but instead you want to fight him in battle because we got Nidoran at level 4. And that's just about being able to take on Brock the easiest way. You want to make sure that you get to that level 12, like I said, before you take him on. You know what? You just want to keep spamming tackle here. I know that that's going to really speed things up or slow things down because of Harden. But in my opinion, he's going to keep using Harden. So if you get lucky like we did with a critical hit, that's great. But if not, you know, it's going to eventually get into this sort of like impossible battle. So you just gotta kind of sit here and eat it. We will be getting Horn Attack, hopefully once we beat this guy, and that's a lot better. The colors are really nice. They're really festive in this generation. I think that adds a lot to the sprites, but I think it's cool that most of the back sprites are pretty much the same from red and blue. Okay, there we go. Horn Attack is great. Let's see if we can get... Yeah, let's move Horn Attack up a bit. And now we're going to spam Horn Attack, which is great. You do want to get the items in Mount Moon, which I want to make sure we can find, or not Mount Moon, in Viridian Forest. So I want to make sure we can find all of those. I can't imagine on a real world record run you go through this battle. Maybe you do though. I don't know, it just seems like it's taken a long time for what would be the world record. Speedruns are pretty interesting though. I tend to like them. I like watching them. I don't like the glitch ones. I mean, there's a place for them, but I just think that they're, I don't know, they're kind of tough for me to justify. Not that I have to do any justification for them, but okay, so you know, there was one more potion that we missed. I think we're good because we got the one from the PC. We'll be fine. And Riku is actually doing pretty well. So I'll take that. They probably shouldn't have battled that Metapod. Again, if it were a real playthrough, or a real speedrun, you'd just be running from all these guys. But oh man. Okay, oh, you know what? Actually, I think you do want to fight that trainer that we just passed. Probably you get the experience, I imagine. So you get up for, I guess so you get up for Brock. You know, let's just do it. We've got time. Something no one has ever said in a speedrun. That's why, though, I like this relaxed speedrun. But And I was thinking about why I was gonna do this. Well, I was thinking like, alright, I want to play every game, and I want to play them in order. But that gets kind of boring with the third version. And I didn't want to do like a Nuzlocke, I didn't want to do something like that, because that's sort of just doing the playthrough again, like what we just did. And it's actually would be more time, or more intensive than the regular playthrough. So that's why I came up with this speedrun idea. I was like, you know what, I've never done a real speedrun. The closest I've ever done was when I was doing my full living decks. I sort of tried to speedrun through and just, you know, take one starter and just run the game through with them. And, you know, that was pretty fun, and I got through the games pretty quickly. Okay, there we go. Level 11. But yeah, and then I just thought, like, you know what? I was looking things up, and I think probably just passed something online, a video, and I realized, like, huh, you know what? Like, I could actually do a speedrun. I could, like, make it a little interstitial until we get to the next, few games. I also bought a GB card ripper. I think it was the GBX cart that I bought, so that way I could take the ROM from this game and put it onto the 3DS, so that way I could end up getting these Pokemon into Pokemon, like Poketransfer and Pokemon Bank, which would be really cool. That's what I'm really looking forward to, is just keeping a log of these guys. So anyway, yeah, you're gonna you gotta face this bug catcher. You're gonna face this guy, and then once you get to Pewter is where you typically would deposit Pikachu. I mean, I kind of want to keep Pikachu on our team just because this is Special Pikachu Edition, and this is a relaxed Nuzlocke, or not relaxed speedrun. So I think I'm going to keep Pikachu just because I like him following us, and it brings me back. But in a typical playthrough, a typical speedrun, you absolutely want to deposit Pikachu, so you don't lose precious frames bumping into him. So you come in here and you heal up. You check out the Chansey that's now here, along with Jigglypuff, which is pretty cool. You know what? We should have caught one of those Pidgeys that we came across. So let's come down here. I know this is not what you're supposed to do, technically. Oh, well, here's Nido and female. We'll run from this. But you want to catch a Pidgey because you'll use it as your flyer. Oh man, Nido and female saying, "Hey, remember last time when you caught me? Don't you want to catch me again?" But you do want it as your flyer. We could wait, but I figured I'd just show you at least. Alright, I think we'll do one more encounter. If not, we'll chalk it up as a loss, and we can shave this time off at the end. Okay, then we're kind of up. One other thing is Pikachu will also cause some unwanted cutscenes that hurt your time in this game. So that's another reason you want to deposit him. Like he'll interact with Bill, he'll do other things. Like I said, I think that's part of the reason why we're playing through Special Pikachu Edition, but you know, that's just my theory. Okay, and now here, like I said, you want to get up to double kick, so that way you can start really hammering these guys away. Diglett sprite is looking great here. Way better than the first generation. Or in the original games. In this generation. I think we can take that. Okay. There we go. Now we got double kick. Still want to use horn attack on Sandshrew, I think, because it's not... Yeah, I think we still want to use horn attack. We can survive a crit, so... Let's just pray we don't get one. There we go. And then... I'm going to use one potion. And then we'll go up and we will face Brock. And this will probably be the quickest I've ever made it to Brock. So for Brock, Geodude is straightforward. You just want to hammer him with double kick. Onyx is a little different. Onyx, you want to use 2 meteors first to lower his defense, because he could potentially kill you with a bye. If he picks Spy, he could potentially kill you with bye before you can kill him, which is not exactly great. He's also faster, so you can use Wrap, Screech, etc. So you just want to use Leer, yeah. Okay, so yeah, well, there we go. Yeah, this is great. Oh man, okay. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Alright, let's use a potion on Riku. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We're now gonna use Leer. And we're gonna use Leer again. Just to make sure that we kill him. Yep, that's fine. Double kicks will take him out. And that's why we did the second Leer. Okay, there we go. Alright, so we now have the Boulder Badge. Really, really nice work. Okay, and now we have Bide on our own. We will never use that. But thank you though, Brock. I do like the colors in here are sort of like a pewter. That's, I think, really festive in this generation. How they changed some of these colors to really match the city, or in this version, I should say. We have that. Okay, so now we're gonna come here. We have to fight the first guy. Up here. We have to fight him. We're gonna have to fight the shorts guy. But then I'll show you a fun little trick. I think Horn Attack is still our best move. You want to stay above 15 HP this entire time too, just so that way the Rattatas don't kick you and knock you out. But otherwise, you should be pretty fine. It is fun to play on my original GameCube. I got this one. It's actually a present for my first Holy Communion in 3rd grade. So I've had this guy for quite some time. It was really my only console for a long time. that's all I had until I bought a PlayStation 2 with my own money because I wanted to play Kingdom Hearts. and then, yeah, I'm trying to think. Then I got a Wii when the Wii came out. But yeah, GameCube was like all the time. I would be playing with my sister, my cousins. I used to bring this thing with me everywhere, and I love that it still works. I would be terrified. I would be really sad if GameCube didn't work anymore. Okay, so you gotta fight Shorts Guy. You wanna make sure you take him on. Youngster Joey, so I should say. The Rattata sprite is pretty good here too. Alright. Now Pickens. A few years ago I had the cartridge replaced in here, or the battery, I should say. And that was, I paid a guy like $20 to do it, which probably got charged too much. But considering I don't know how to do that, it was definitely worth every penny. Okay, so you want to fight this last. And then I'll show you what you want to do after you beat up on her. Once you dip below 15 HP, like I said, the Rattatas could in theory knock you out. Okay. And now it's Nidoran male versus Nidoran male. I think we can take that. Yep. Okay, I think this is her last Pokemon, so we're making pretty good timing, though. Okay, so once you beat this last... Oh, first Riku's gonna evolve, which is pretty good. There we go. That is a festive sprite. Alright, now... come back to Pewter, just real quick, and now if you come back up here, you'll see why we did that, because now you can get around the last that came down. You want to, actually, you typically want to talk to this guy instead of having him come walk to you. It saves you time. Here. Oh, that's a good sprite, man. He's so much bigger than last time. I love it. Good job, Riku. He's definitely huge. Alright. Well, anyway, so we're actually coming up on Mount Moon soon, which is a lot quicker than I thought. Yeah, I'm sure you do like dinner. Oh, shoot. Dude, okay, that was the GameCube controller fault. But I also knew that it's not as precise as normal. Alright, let's just hope that we can... Oh, and we have one more attack left. Great. So... Oh, I should have used double kick. What am I thinking? There we go. Alright. Okay, well, there we go. That is it. So now that we did that, you can head all the way to the Pokemon Center. over right before you get to Mount Moon. Heal up a little bit. Make sure that you are all prepared. Like I said, you definitely want to deposit Pikachu in here, but if not. Okay, so I'll show you how you want to go through Mount Moon. It's pretty, it can be a little difficult, but you want to start off by going up here and going around this trainer, if you can. No. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna run from this. Alright, but anyway. You go down here. You want to go to the very first area down here. You want to avoid the rocket battle because you want to get this HP up. It is nice that you can just avoid the rocket. You know, let's use the HP up right now on Riku. We're going to want to use all buffing items on him because he's going to be the only one getting into battles from this point on. Keep running. You don't want to fight the Geodude. Zubat either. Oh man. We are getting swarmed here. The encounter table is crazy. Alright. You want to go down here if you can. See, this is why in the original games people hated Zubat and called these caves Zubats. I don't know what they did in this version. Whether it was like up in the encounters or what it was. But, alright, you want to get this rare candy. You can get the escape rope. I like to get it. We didn't pick up the TM for water gun, which is over to the left. I don't think you need it. You know, we're not really gonna use it. We're gonna get Bubble Beam as soon as we beat Misty if you want somewhere to go. We could get Mega Punch and Ether. I think we're gonna avoid that. You also wouldn't have gone down that flight of stairs in a traditional run. Just need to get the one Moonstone. Okay. This is gonna lie. We're gonna hug this wall a bit more to avoid that trainer, if we can. Oh my god, we would... If this were a world record run, I probably would have reached that by now. This is crazy. Alright, let's go. Okay. When I was a kid, I always thought that the encounter tables, or that your encounters went up if you ran from Pokemon, and that running from Pokemon made it so that way you would not be able to get your, it would make more Pokemon appear. And it's actually not. I think it's still just entirely random. and your ability to get away is based solely on your Pokemon's speed. Which is not what I thought as a kid. Here's the Moonstone, though. I don't know when we want to use the Moonstone, though. Or when you do use the Moonstone. I guess immediately. So, if you find Wild Geodude, you do want to beat it up. Only once, though, like we did. We could still keep beating up whatever Geodudes we hit, but... Anyway, after this battle, we want to go up to the Nidoking. I think we're now powerful enough, yeah, where we can take out Onyx. That feels pretty good after this rock battle. Now I think you can see why Riku is a little powerhouse. And he's about to become an even bigger one. You're seeing why this is the Nidokingdom in the game. He is the Marcus of Pokemon, if you've ever played Fire Emblem. Except he doesn't really trail off. Dude, this controller is going to be the death of me. Okay. So now we want to go all the way around here. We have to fight this one Team Rocket up front, but that's fine. Oh no, actually, we don't. It looks like we can avoid them. We will have to face the Super Nerd, also known as Andrew's counterpart. There we go. You can start to see, though, how... Oh, Clefairy. Yeah, I'm gonna beat up on Clefairy. We could use that experience. Nice. Sorry, Clefairy. Oh, I thought Clefairy would have given way more, given how rare it is. But, oh well. Okay, so... The thing that makes this game different, as some of you might know, is that we still face Super Nerd, but then you have the Jesse and James battle coming up. Maybe I'm just gonna let's use Horn Attack. I think Double Kick. I think it'll do more than Double Kick. Oof, maybe not. Okay, there we go. Nidoking looks pretty cool, man. I love the underbite fangs. Like that's just sick. Alright, let's hope it takes it out. Alright. I wanna see, I forget if yeah, it's not very effective. Okay, that's what I thought. See, sometimes you remember things about the table, and sometimes you just kind of forget them. Okay, there we go. Sorry, Super Nerd. Yep, we'll take the Helix Fossil, because last time we got the Dome Fossil. And then you gotta fight actually our first Team Rocket fight against some old pals from the anime. No. Yeah, so I do have the ability to hook up my Game Boy to GameCube. I never really realized that that Jesse and James have their own music. But anyway, I might do that. I might just hook up my Game Boy Advance to GameCube. Because the controller here it's just a little rough. I wonder if I could use my XP. I might be able to do that. This is just great. Go. So I have a general idea of how I want to break down these episodes, like where I want to cut on and off for. Like I said, it's an interstitial. Hey, don't miss doing me off. I'm sorry, he's asleep behind me. But yeah, I think around the hour mark or so. But I do have markers I want to hit, just so that way we can keep it moving. You beat us. Okay, and with that, Team Rocket. Of course, we are going to get one more kind of leave here. Like, it's just typical, you know. Alright. There we go. Again, would not do this in a regular run through, but because we need a flyer. Oh. What's TM4 again? Is that Mega Kick? A Whirlwind? Yeah, I think we'll pass on that. Let's see if we can get like a Spearow or something in here. There we go. Alright, now. Alright, let's see. Let's see if the Pokeball works. There we go. And you know what? Because it's a Nuzlocke, let's nickname him. Let's nickname him A, just like you would in a regular Nuzlocke for a Pokemon. Alright. One of the first things you want to do when you get to Cerulean is you come up into the house, you go out the back, and you come up here for a nice little surprise. Did I miss it? Where is it? Where's the rare candy? There we go. And you want to get that just in case we want to use it later on. Alright, so now you want to fight your rival. Still no need to heal. So, you know what's funny is we have 2 rare candies now. So, in a typical speedrun, you have an interesting choice to make once you hit level 21. So, in someone going for the actual world record, what you really want to do is as soon as you hit level 21, you're going to shove your 2 rare candies. You're going to give them to your Nido. The reason why is because you'll get Thrash, and that will become like your move to use going forward. The issue I see with that is, and the issue that that would have been killer. See, that's why you don't get cute. Anyway, Thrash will leave you, if you don't have great defense, it'll leave you a little bit vulnerable to Misty, because we do now have a ground type, or we are a ground type with Riku. So, if you use Thrash, you can't heal, whatever, you know, that's tough. But, so your other option is to go and fight 2 more people, get to level 25, and then use them. I think we'll see. I think we'll wait and see. Now, I know that I said I didn't want to catch a lot of repeats. I think that's mostly going to be for team members. Because one thing you typically do is you catch where you obtain the Charmander up here, and he's going to be one of your HM friends. However, I don't love the idea of wasting for an entire playthrough every Pokemon game, wasting one of my encounters of Charmander as an HM friend. So I think what we're gonna do is we'll get it and we'll just consider these games like, well, we'll nickname them, you know, but we won't consider them our catch. So they'll be a team member, but they'll just be a, sort of there'll be maybe exceptions to the rule. We'll say that. You still have to go on Nugget Bridge, though, per usual. You have to get to Bill. So anyway, I was talking earlier about my whole setup here, and so there's a really interesting issue that oh shoot, I totally forgot that. Yes, I think we can survive that. How there was an issue with the Mac M1 chip and any outside, like USB-based audio. And I'm really glad that I found a solution. It took me forever. I couldn't find anything on Reddit. I couldn't find anything on YouTube, like even set up channels. Never mentioned this. And I asked Gemini. Actually, I recorded a video of the actual output, and I put it into Google Gemini. And I said, what is wrong with my audio? It diagnosed the issue pretty near immediately, and then it told me. I thought that was pretty impressive for I only had to go back and forth with it a few times. And finally, it gave me the exact right thing to do. Staying for Nidoran, let's use it. Oh, this is tough. Alright, this is really tough. I want to save those hornet. Alright, here's what we're gonna do is we're gonna horn attack and hope it hits. That's our only option. But this has been, oh man, 2 sand attacks is not good. Alright, let's hope it hits, and then I guess I can go back and heal. Yikes. Not good, huh? Oh man. This is brutal. This would be run ending. Oh, this is awful. Wow. Alright, last, tip your hat. Alright, you know what? I'm actually gonna... No, we're all the way in this, so... Like I said, it's a relaxed speedrun. We didn't use the... I didn't use the rare candies, so let's wait a bit. Let's get back to Nugget Bridge now. Hope we don't get any more accuracy lowering moves. Our old friend the red coat is still there. Alright. We'll pass by last, not get too upset. Horn attack Mankey. The Mankey spray is awesome here. Way better, way better than the original first generation games. I knew that was going to happen. What do I always say? What do I always say? Stupid. Especially after we just healed. Okay. But yeah, they really redid. So this game was based off the anime, if you couldn't tell. but they also redid a lot of the sprites to base on the anime, and I think it paid off. You know, a lot of them are really good in this game. Horn attack. Oh, that's rough. Alright, we're not gonna just use tackle. Don't worry, learn my lesson. I think Zubat's sprite was arguably better in blue, though. I remember it being pretty good. Sorry, Rocket. And still got the whip. So we're gonna come up here, we're gonna get our new HM friend, Charmander. Just something I've never thought I would say, but we will give it a nickname, and I'm gonna name it, funny enough. So, when the EXP Share podcast did their initial run through, Josh Fjellstad named his Charmander Litzard, which I thought was so funny and like stupid, and he of course ended up changing it when he got to the name Raider, but I just always thought that was great, so I decided, why not, you know, Charmander's not going to evolve, he'll just be our guy. Horrible offense, as you can tell, but really good defense. Let's hope we get to level 23. There we go. And now we get Thrash. Thrash will let you essentially sweep an entire team while only using really one PP. That's awesome. awesome. I guess we couldn't really avoid her. Let's see. Thrash now. There we go. Nice. Yep, and now you can see why he's really the king. You know what? No, we want to... Okay. Yeah, we're going to want to fight this guy. A world record attempt would want to fight the guy who's actually above. But the hiker gives more experience. So you want to fight, I'm going to want to fight him. Because it's not, because we're not going for a world record. At least not anymore. We're pretty close to world record mark at this point. Alright, so. Let's use Thrash now. I think he's probably got like another Geodude or Onyx, which is gonna suck if I'm wrong on that. Yeah. Oh well. We can take it. That, I don't know if we want to take. But, okay. Good job, Riku. You got me. Yeah, I think I did. Okay, we're gonna fight this lass. Alright. We're gonna want to just thrash here. I don't think he has anything that we can. That'll be bad for us. It'd be great to get to level 25. Oh well. Okay. There you go. Yeah, you're jealous. Cool. Alright, so now we come beat Bill. Here you see... Yeah, you see how Pikachu walks all the way over. Does this whole Pikachu thing. That's one of the reasons you definitely box him. Precious seconds wasted. Alright. Yet again, Pikachu just stunned by what's going on here. But there we go. I love how in the anime he's in a costume. Yeah, Pikachu is just mortified, as are we all. I mean, I don't want to know why Bill was doing any of this. Yeah, real Jurassic Park type stuff. I'm not gonna get involved in this. Or why he was in a costume of a Pokemon. Okay. Pikachu, you can stay in there if you want with Bill the Creep, and we will head off. I think let's go get up to face the Team Rocket. We have to fight him eventually, anyway. And so let's just fight him now. Get it over with. I also can't remember. I remember last time very well that the Nidos can't learn Dig, But let's see if they can learn it this time. I'm an innocent bystander. Okay, well. Yeah, we're just gonna thrash. There we go. This is gonna be sweet. Sorry, Drowsy. Drowsy used to give us so much trouble last game. Wonderful. Just wonderful. Okay. You know what, though? We normally, in a Nuzlocke, you normally wouldn't teach that, so not even gonna check. You would heal right now, though, and let's give that a go. You're gonna want to take on at least one of the trainers before Misty, which you have to do. We don't have to take on both, but we gotta at least take on one of them. So you can avoid that guy. This girl, though, this swimmer you gotta face. Okay, let's see what we can do with a thrash. Ah. Alright, well, we'll take it back. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So the reason you want to get to level 25 is because now if we use the 2 rare candies, we actually will outspeed Starmie and Staryu, which is really big. I'm gonna save though, just to be sure. Okay, and now let's take on Misty. So this is one of the really scariest battles. I mean, Brock is pretty scary. Like, there's tons of things that can go wrong in the beginning, but because it's so easy to reset there, like you just reset if something goes wrong. Here is like, we've invested some serious time into this run at this point, and if you end up losing, it's tough to swallow. You know, Starmie might be able to drop your speed here. Like, 2 hits should take it out. Let's see. Defense hurts. Okay, there we go. Alright, there we go. Alright. Very good. TM11, pretty good. Alright, and we're at just an hour and 6 minutes. I mean, that's slow, but that's pretty good. I don't know if we can fight that guy or if he'll fight us, but we'll see. Okay, so let's go and just heal. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to teach some things to our team. So we're first going to teach Dig to our friend Litzard in honor of Josh Fjellstad. And now we are going to teach Bubble Beam to our friend Riku instead of Lear. There we go, and poof. Forgot Lear and learn Bubble Beam. Okay, So now that we have that out of the way, we're gonna head to Vermilion City next. We'll be right on the edge before we get to our next battle, or our next episode probably. Okay, so we're gonna come down here to Route 5. The Land of Meowth. Will not be catching one for this run, unfortunately. Never forget, Meowie had half a tackle in the Elite Four for us. Alright, a free full restore here. You definitely want to take that here. Get through the whole underground. And now we're gonna get around some of the trainers. Avoid these guys. Alright, you have to battle these two, so let's beat them up. We want to beat them up pretty good with some thrashes. As you can see, I hope you can tell now why Nidoking is supreme in this game. We're already level 27. He's destroying everything. This is... does not get much better than this. Wish it was faster than a quick attack. Not many things are, but... Okay, now let's face the boyfriend. I forget if they say in this game or another one that they're boyfriend and girlfriend, but I think that's pretty well known. Maybe that's just my headcanon. Alright, keep on thrashing. Ooh. Well, I guess it's better than like a hyper or super fang. That's even great. Okay. Good job, Riku. Yeah, Riku was good. I was gonna name him Sora, maybe, but I always thought Nidoking was a little bit of a more, like, gruff and tough. So, kind of like Riku. So I thought that was a good one. Like I said, I was thinking about Nidokingdom, because, like, Nidokingdom. But yeah, and then I was sitting there, I was walking, and I thought, Nidokingdom, Kingdom Hearts, Sora, Riku. Alright, we're gonna buy a few items. And buy some super potions. And buy a few repels, too, that we're gonna want. Okay, and we're gonna head to the SSN, but that will be, I think, next time. For right now, I think we are going to save, and an hour and 12 minutes in, that's pretty good. Alright, well, thanks for joining everyone for our very first relaxed Nuzlocke run, and our very first episode of that through Pokemon Yellow Special Pikachu Edition. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and tune in next time. Thank you.